Let the breath begin to flow for your body already. Deep inhales and relaxed exhales. The idea that we're working on today is the sacral area of our body. A lot of people don't have anatomical awareness of exactly what that is. So the sacrum is a triangle-shaped bone. It's the very last bone of our spine, and it's exactly what connects our spine to the hips. It's that transition period. Energetically, the sacral chakra represents our creativity. It represents kind of this connection that we have with ourselves and others. And so this idea of creativity is perfect because one of the big problems that will happen with the sacrum is that it'll tilt in one of 3 different angles. And when it tilts, that misalignment makes it so that the sacrum, the bone, starts to push into the huge nerve, the nerve that passes into our legs so that our legs can have motion. That nerve is the biggest nerve of our body, but it's so close to that sacral joint that when the sacrum's misaligned, it'll push up against it and cause pain on one side. So that's called sciatica. And so that misalignment causing problems is a really good representation of what we can keep in the back of our mind today. That idea of creativity, shaping our future to be exactly what we hope it to be. That creativity is kind of symbolic of the goals and the vision for our future. So when we're not aligned to how our goals are, then that misalignment, similar to the sacrum, causes pain. We tend to regret things in life, and we tend to be very uncomfortable with how things are going. So the idea today is that by aligning our bones, aligning the sacrum really nicely, by taking time to stretch and strengthen through that whole area, imagine metaphorically, we're also helping to align ourselves to our goals, to the future that we hope to see. And so that's the idea that we'll keep in the back of our mind today as we travel through our class. So first things first, we're going to start taking the knees into the chest. And as you begin to rock around on the hips, imagine this is our first chance to get right into that sacral area. So don't feel any sort of rush, but as you're rocking around, take some time to really tune into how that area feels. Sometimes I'm lucky and I can kind of feel one spot of the sacrum where it's starting to bump out. And so then when I become aware of that, I'm able to rock a little bit on the spot that's sticking out to kind of naturally bring the sacrum bone back into that flat plane alignment. So if you notice that, feel free to add any additional intuitive rocks that feel helpful. But otherwise, just take a few more rounds, a couple of breaths, just helping that sacrum to have just a light engagement. So we'll be here one more good cycle, in and out. Good, and then we'll drop our feet close to the glutes. We're going to take bridge pose, so hands are by the hips, and then roll the hips up, lifting hips one vertebrae at a time until we're lifted high up into bridge pose. When we're here, if you'd like to try clasping hands under your back, if that's possible, you can take that. Maybe walk your shoulders under. We're going to pause here for a few bonus rounds of breath. And so notice this is including that sacral area, but this is in a strengthening way. So we're going to go back and forth in our class between strengthening the muscles around that sacrum and then helping to stretch it out so that we can help to pull it into a good straight alignment. So 3 more breaths right here. One more inhale. Exhale, start to release the hands. Begin to roll the hips down to the ground. When the hips touch down, then we're going to let both legs start to stretch up to the sky. Our hands are on the back sides of the legs to help make it a little bit easier. And we're just finding a good straight alignment. Because our spine is perfectly straight, it's right flush with the ground, then by us taking a gentle forward fold, like the legs coming up like this, it's helping to start to stretch and include some of those deeper tissues in the low back and the hips. So know if this is super easy and you want to pull the legs in a bit closer, that's fine. But you do want to keep the sacrum flush on the ground for this moment. Just a couple more breaths. Just helping some of those muscles start to stretch for us in a very gentle way. Good. And then as we start to release our hands back down to the ground, this is going to be a very small motion, but again, it's helping to strengthen that area. So we lower the feet down just a foot, maybe 2 feet, not too far at all. But the biggest motion is now when we come back in, we're trying to pull past that midline, maybe the hips lift just a little bit. So lower down a little bit. That's an inhale. Exhale, bring it right back in. Less about momentum, more about the strength of the back and the core helping to lift that pelvis. So nice slow pulsing. Good. We'll take 3 more. Here's 3. And 2. And the last one. Good. Now rest the left foot on the ground. The right foot is going to extend long on the ground. This motion, some of the motions we're taking today feel very subtle, but they do tremendous work to help get those bones aligned. So what this right foot is going to do, we start off with the foot pointing and flexing. And then when the foot goes back to a relaxed neutral spot, the right knee drags wide through the side, the heel slides in as close as it can go, and then it starts to slide right back to long. When it's long, point and flex, and then start again. Drag the heel wide, slide it back long, and point and flex. So again, very subtle movement. But because of the wide angle, it's really helpful for that sacral area, trying to get it right back to a good loose spot with its ligaments. We'll take 3 more rounds. There's 2. And 1. Point flex, then slide the right foot in to stay resting. Then we'll start working on the left. So left goes long, point flex, and then drag the knee through the side, sliding heel in, then returning it right back out long, point flex. There's 2 more. And last one. Good. When we slide that left foot into plant, bring the feet about as wide as the mat. The knees will tilt over to the left side and stay. When you're tilted, you have the option to take left foot on the right knee if you like how that feels. If it hurts the knee at all, just drop it right back down. It's not required. Okay, left foot releases down. Not too fast, just nice and slow. Knees lift up, they tilt to the right side. And when they're there, you can either stay like this or maybe right ankle comes up to left knee this time, if you like how that feels. One more good inhale. And exhale, this right foot goes to the ground. A few slow motion windshield wipers. Don't be in any sort of rush right now. These are those subtle movements that make all the difference. Gradually going left, eventually right. Next time the knees go up, we're going to take another bridge pose, so slide the feet a little bit more narrow to be in alignment with the hips. And then we begin to lift the sacrum up, lift up one vertebrae at a time. When we're at the highest spot, if you want to clasp hands under your back, take that clasp. We'll hold for a few more breaths. One more inhale. Exhale, release the hands, lower the spine back down to the ground. Once we're there, we're going to take the right leg up to the sky, grab onto the leg, and just take a couple of breaths working through some hamstring flexibility. And this right leg starts to cross past midline to the left side. We're only going to the point where this right hip starts to lift off the ground. When we get to that lifted spot, that's a really good angle, not only to feel some of these muscles and connective tissues on the outer thigh, but also feel how much space is being brought in that sacral and that hip area. So just breathe into that space. When you do have that sciatic problem, you're right in the middle of that issue, all you want is more space. And so this is one of those gifts, bringing the leg across like this to help create that space. Take one more deep inhale. And then exhale, cross this right thigh over the left thigh. When you've got it crossed, take the thighs into the chest. If you can reach for each ankle, grab onto those. If that's a little too far, grab for the knees instead. And we're trying to pull it in just to help continue that opening that we just started. The hands release now. This bottom foot goes to the rest on the ground, and then the knees in this cross shape continue to fall into a twist to the left. And feel how this is continuing to help that right hip just create so much space. The right sacrum opening. There's no sort of force required. Just let gravity take over and just help those tissues have a little bit more length. Now when hips return to the ground, uncross and let this left foot rest on the earth. Right leg goes clear up to, other side, right foot on the earth, left leg goes clear up to the sky. So then when you grab on, this is a couple of breaths for the hamstring. Begin to take this straight leg over toward the right, about a 45-degree angle, that perfect spot where the hip is starting to lift off the ground. And then just pause right there. So that separation, that increase of space on the left side now. One more inhale. Exhale, let this left thigh cross on front. Thighs into the chest, grab onto the ankles, or if that's too much, grab onto knees. Gentle inviting of the legs in. One more breath in. Exhale, the hands release, the bottom foot's back to the ground, and then the knees continue to fall over to the right side. Let gravity take over so that it's not a forceful opening, it's just kind of a melting into the spaciousness. One more good inhale. And exhale, hips start to return down. When we uncross, we've got one more stretch before we come up to a seated place. And that's taking right ankle up onto left thigh. And then hugging hands around the left thigh or shin, whatever you can reach. As you start to invite the legs in like this, this is one of my favorite spots to just open that sacral joint right up. Try to breathe into the extra space. If you notice muscle groups tensing up, try to help those muscle groups relax. One more good inhale. Exhale, release, and we'll switch sides right away, left ankle to right thigh, and then do the hug. Good, last inhale. And exhale, we start to release. When we've uncrossed the legs, we're going to try to roll like a ball. Some people, it doesn't feel that good on the spine, so if that's the case, just take one or two. Otherwise, maybe a full 5 or 6 rocks, especially feeling it when it comes to that sacral area. Try to roll directly up that sacrum. Good. Let's take one more and then we'll stay upright. As we're up here, we're going to start working the legs straight, but we're going to especially work on the spine being erect. So that means if you need to keep the knees bent to help the spine stay straight, that's great. Only if the spine can be very straight with straight legs, then that's an option. Even the hands behind us can help support that lift. As we slowly start to tilt forward, it's the goal to keep straightness. So there's no rounding today. It's a very straight spine, easing its way forward, if there's space for it. Only if you're significantly tilted forward and it would be helpful to bring hands forward, then it's an option. But again, not rounding today, it's very much a straightening quality, whatever that requires. So we'll just pause here, a few good breaths. And notice how by maintaining the straightness today, it's including some new muscle groups right around the glute and hamstring area. So just give those areas space and breath to just continue to elongate here. Three more cycles. Then we're going to make our way in a very slow fashion toward Cobbler's pose. So first the feet start to come together, the knees are wide. We're still maintaining that straight spine. If there's more space to tilt forward with that rearrangement of the hips, maybe go forward more. It might mean backing off a bit too. Just pause here, another 2 cycles of breath. And maybe take the feet halfway toward Cobbler's pose. Again, resetting up in a straight spine. If there's more space to tilt with the straightness, that's okay. Otherwise, just stay. And if the legs want to go a little bit closer in, this will be the last slide. Re-straightening of the spine, and we take just a few more rounds of breath right here. Inhale, exhale. We'll make our way up to a comfortable seated place for some shoulder stretches. So if the feet want to stay here and you can maintain tallness, that's fine. Otherwise, simple cross-leg is also fine here. Either way, with the spine nice and straight, we're going to take the right arm across the body. Basically, we're giving the spine a little break for a moment, just stretching a couple of other spots of the body. If with this right arm stretch, we want to tilt the head to the left, that could help to exaggerate some of that stretch that needs to happen. Sometimes the head will tilt slightly in front of the shoulder or sometimes slightly behind the shoulder to get to the very best spot. So explore until you find that best spot and then breathe. Good, a huge inhale to open the arms. Exhale, left arm across. Maybe head to the right. And if you need to play around for a moment to find that best stretch for the neck, maybe head slightly forward or head slightly backward. Just play around until you find it. The next inhale to open. And exhale, we're gonna come onto hands and knees. We'll start to take cat-cow, but rather than thinking of the vertebrae today, really be in tune with that sacral tilt. So feel it almost like an ocean wave, just rocking forward and tilting backward. Just tilt in the way that's most helpful for that sacrum. The nerve that passes down the spinal column, it's surrounded by the sheath so that there can be lots of fluid, cerebral spinal fluid, surrounding the nerves to keep the nerves healthy, to keep those electrical signals flowing. And so our body is so much more fluid than we think of it. Oftentimes we think that we're more of the bone, more of that structure, the strong muscles. But our body is so much liquid, so much water. In fact, even the bones flow. With every inhale and exhale that we take, the sacrum is flexed outward and then inward. So there's so much more mobility than we think of. So with this flow of water, let's take 2 more rounds up and down with that sacrum. Good, and then the spine will come back to neutral. Our left knee is going to come under the body weight so that the right knee is free. And then the right knee, we're going to lift it up through the side as high as it can lift, and then drop it right back down. We're repeating that another 6 times. This is helping to strengthen some of those muscles surrounding the sacrum. So here's 5. And 4. 3, 2, last 1, and then switch the knees out so that the left is free. When you're ready, left comes up and down. Here's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Body weight onto left knee. The right leg extends long behind us. Left arm forward. And know that if just holding this balance is plenty of work, that's okay. Otherwise, exhale, touch together underneath. Inhale back out long. Taking 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, drop this side down, switch it out, one more direction. We've got left leg long, right arm forward. Either hold or 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, dropping the knee down. We're coming forward into a kneeling plank. Lower yourself all the way down to the ground. And once you're there, let the elbows go wide, the palms stack. This is Alligator Pose. It doesn't seem like a pose, it seems like we're just resting on our belly, but there's actually a lot that's going on here. With a slight arch to the low back, the sacrum is so happy, it's in such a good resting spot. Notice how the breath really affects the sacrum here. Huge inhales, that sacrum flexes out. Inhales, it falls back in. So enjoy 3 more good relaxing breaths here. And then from here, our elbows are going to be at that halfway spot between this pose, alligator, and sphinx. So a nice kind of halfway spot to prop us up just a little bit. And from that prop, our right leg is going to stay straight as it lifts up as high as you can lift. And then right foot drops down. Left leg lifts. Feel that squeeze, that strengthening of the sacral area, and down. Just keep this breath flowing. I like to do a nice exhale when I lift. Inhale to lower. 3 more lifts on each side. Two. And 1. Good. Continuing to walk the elbows into Sphinx pose. Hands dragged toward us. Instead, the belly is brought forward and through to a nice abdominal stretch. And notice that relief through the sacral area as well. A good inhale. And exhale, we'll press back at least for a moment in child pose. From the back with that nice relaxing curvature. You can stay up to the point where you're ready to take a nice downward facing dog. No rush to get there, but only when the spine and especially the sacrum feels ready for it. You'll stay in this downward facing dog until your body feels ready to come up to the top of the mat. No rush to get there, but only when it feels ready. And whenever we're in forward folds today, we're trying to keep the spine straight. So let the hands be on the legs to support whatever spot you need to rise up to get that nice flatness. So all those deep connective tissues in the hamstrings and deep into the hips getting stretched. Lots of structure support across that sacrum. So one more good inhale. Exhale, bend the knees, roll the spine up. When you're up, circle the arms up to the sky, take a little back bend. And hands to the heart. Good, we'll start a flow from here. So inhale, circle up to sky. Exhale, flat forward fold. So only to that point where it's still flat. Hands can rest if that helps. Take a bonus inhale. And then exhale, drop the hands down so we can slide the right foot back. Once we're there, the right knee drops down to the ground. And as we start to walk our hands up to the left side, pay attention to that right hip. Sometimes we try to force it so far forward that the hips start to turn open, and that also tilts the sacrum. So instead, plug that right hip forward, try to get it dragging forward so that the hips are more even. And from here, just take a nice gentle back bend. Starting to rise, the little lift, and then the lean back just a bit. Just one more good inhale here. Exhale, we straighten out the front leg. We try to keep the spine very straight as we go forward. So maybe we need to keep the hands on the leg. Maybe we can go to the floor. The spine is as straight as possible. Good. Heading toward lizard pose, the front knee bends. The hands come to the inside of the foot. We either stay right here or continue to lower down toward the ground. Maybe one elbow, maybe both. It's not a competition, it's just how deep feels natural. And as we start to plant the hands, we're going to transition toward warrior one. So tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee, rotate that heel down. And then once we're here, we can rise up warrior one. So once again with this warrior one, make sure the hips aren't opening to the side. Instead, we're dragging this right hip forward. So we get it to stay nice and square. We're here just one more inhale. Exhale, start to open up warrior two. And in warrior two, it's super key to get the tailbone scooping under. A lot of times I see people kind of stick their butt back and there's kind of an arch to the spine. That's exactly what will help to exaggerate that sacral misalignment. So instead, sacrum tucks under, tailbone tucks under, and then we have a nice straight long spine to extend out from. Good, so going toward extended side angle, front elbow rests on front thigh. The other arm stretches forward and pay attention to the sacrum, still keeping it that tailbone tucked. Lots of flank, that muscular support. One more inhale. Exhale, open back to warrior two. And then we'll go to goddess pose. So both toes turn out to the 45-degree angles on this long edge. We're starting to squat down. Very important to keep that tailbone tuck under. Arms are open left and right. Just to help strengthen that sacral area, we'll do small pulses, an inch up and an inch down, not big at all. Let the legs go just a slight pulse up and down. If you'd like to include a few arm circles as well, just with that same pulse, strengthening through the arms as well. And just a little bit longer here. Let's go for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. From here, drop the hands to the insides of the knees. The hips sit back just a little bit. We're leaning forward a bit. What this does is help to press the inner thighs open. Just by that deep lean. Now let the legs straighten. Turn the toes to this long edge of the mat. And as we go to the forward fold here, keep the spine very straight. So maybe you keep the hands on the shins. Maybe you can drop them immediately in front of the face. If you can still go beyond that, let the elbows start to soften, keeping the spine very, very straight today. Feel that length all the way down to the sacrum. Good. So from here, start to walk the hands up to the top of the mat. We're stepping the front foot back to plank or kneeling plank. We lower down to the ground and stay. And from here, the right arm is going to reach to the front and we rock onto the right side body so that the left knee can get dragged up as high as you can to that side. It's resting on the floor. You could either choose to be passive here and just relax, or you could be active by continuing to push that left knee into the ground. If you're doing that, it helps to activate the muscles to create even more space in that sacral area. So as active or as passive as you want to be. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start to slide the left leg long. Switching the sides. We rock onto the left side body and the right knee comes up. Again, again, you can be passive here or actively pushing right knee into the ground. Keep on breathing either way. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slide this leg back. Hands come in right under the shoulders. Either baby cobra or full cobra. Just a good inhale. Exhale, child pose or straight to the down dog. Same thing as before, stay in the down dog as long as it feels helpful for that low back and for the legs. At some point, you'll feel ready to come up to the top of the mat. No rush. Good. And again, that flat spine, whatever angle that is when we get there. And bend the knees, roll up. Circle the arms up, a slight back bend. Let's go right into the dive, all the way forward to that half lift. Bonus inhale. And exhale, slide the hands down. This time, left foot comes back. Drop that left knee down. Pay attention to the hips as we start to come up to the thigh. So we're not letting this right hip go in front of the left hip. Instead, this left continues to pull forward. Nice and square. Maybe there's a continual lift to the vertebrae before we have a slight lean backward. One more nice inhale. And exhale, the front leg gets to go straight. It's a straight spine forward fold, whatever angle that drops down to. And plant that front foot, bending the knee. Hands are on the inside for lizard. So maybe we stay up, maybe we drop down. It's your preference of how deep feels accessible. Coming up onto hands, tuck the back toes. You lift the knee and rotate the foot down so that we can rise up to warrior one. Already start to pull that left hip forward, squaring that sacrum. It's very supported, very even. One more good inhale. Exhale, rotate up into warrior two. Start to feel the tailbone tuck under and then the spine elongate up. Sacrum so supported by that tuck. So keep that support as you take the extended side angle. Front elbow down, the other arm starts to stretch forward. Good, rising up warrior two. And then turn open again to goddess pose. I'll flip around. Tailbone scoops under, spine straightens up. And then from the already starting to sink down spot, let's start to pulse just an inch or so up and down. It doesn't take much, maybe arm circles as well. Here is 3, 2, 1. Hands to the inner knee. Push the inner thighs open. And straighten the legs, turn the toes forward. Straight spine, however deep we go. Good. We've got one more pose I want us to take before we wrap up this flow. So bend the knees and start to rise the spine up. Once we're up, heel toe the feet together and face forward. This will be a balance, so if you need to be close to a wall for this, this is okay. But essentially we're taking the right ankle up onto the left thigh. We're trying to bend the standing leg with the hands on the knee and on the ankle. We're helping this hip and the whole sacral area open up really nicely. So you're sinking as low as you have the capability for with your balance. Spine is very straight. So from here we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently rise. Stepping this right foot down, left ankle comes up. And same thing, we start to bend the standing leg. Maybe the hands can rest, helping to keep that knee rotating open. Continue to sit the hips back, spine is very straight. When you feel that good spaciousness, we've got a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Gentle release. Once our feet are on the earth, we circle the arms up to the sky, maybe a slight back bend. And forward fold all the way down. Half lift if we didn't get there immediately. Let's pause for 2 more breaths here. When you get to the exhale, start to drop the hands to the floor. Slide the feet back to plank or kneeling plank. Lowering all the way down to the ground. And then we're going to do the same thing as before. Right arm slides forward. Rock onto the right side body. Left knee comes up as close as we can get it toward the torso. You can rest on the ground. And again, this is a chance to either be passive and just rest here, or be active, pushing that left knee into the earth. Our last little gift for the sacrum here. One more good inhale. Exhale, start to slide this leg back. Switching sides. Left arm straight, rock onto left side body. Right knee comes up and rests. And you choose, are you passive here or are you pushing the right knee into the earth? One more good inhale. And then exhale. When this leg frees itself, we can return onto our belly. This is that last couple of minutes before Shavasana. So know if there's any last poses your body needs, you can head into them. If you want to take your Shavasana as the Alligator Pose today, if that feels really good on your sacrum, that's absolutely an option. If you want to do last little stretches and take a different kind of Shavasana today, there's nothing wrong with that. Just let your body explore until you feel like you found your perfect resting position. And then when you get there, just breathe. Think of how aligned the sacrum has become. And think of how every breath that you take through the Shavasana is almost like another chance to help that sacrum wave like, kind of rock like an ocean wave, just that gentle massaging back toward perfect alignment. We'll be here for several more minutes. Just let your body breathe, relax. Good things opening up gradually. Here we'll begin to deepen the inhales and the exhales. Introducing little movements back to the body. And gradually the movements get larger and larger until at some point you feel ready to stretch like you're waking up, first thing. Welcome to eventually take a nice fetal position off to one side. Enjoy a few more rounds of breath here as we're coming back toward this moment, toward presence. Maybe 4 or 5 more rounds until you're ready to rise. When we do a rise, we'll join our hands together in front of the heart. And scanning through our system, we feel how much more aligned the body is. Body stretched and it's strengthened to try to keep that good alignment. So this is how good it feels to be in alignment with our goals and with our vision for the future. And so as we travel to the rest of this day and this week, our big idea is to constantly check in. Is what I'm doing and thinking and saying and becoming helping me to aim toward my goals, to attract the future I want to happen in my life? And if not, how can I come into greater alignment with this? So with alignment to lead us for this marvelous day, let's wrap up the time we got to share together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.